This show brought to you by Circle of Seven Productions, www.cosproductions.com. Please be sure to subscribe and welcome to our circle.
Hello, everybody. This is Patricia W. Fisher with Readers Entertainment Radio, and it is the second week of June, and thank goodness everybody's schoolwork is turned in and people have graduated. Everyone's graduated. It's going to graduate in the spring, and we are on the next adventure of our lives. And I think the summer is a great time to really sit down and say, I really wanted to find out more about something during the school year, whether you're in school or your kid's in school or things are going on around you that have been particularly busy. And now I might have some time to actually invest in those things. So I think summer is always a great, great time to really sit down and start reading a lot of different books. I remember summertime being the time where my mom would take us to the library, and we would stuff our bags full of books and just go home and sit in basically like a circle around, the books are all around us and reading late into the night. And it was really hot in Houston during the summers, and obviously still is. But, we'd be out running around till about 10 or 11 and come in and eat, and then maybe sit down and read for a little bit, and then go back out until it was dark and come back and read till late in the night. So reading has always been one of my favorite things to do. So this is why it is such a thrill that I get to talk about books so often, and how they make changes and how they inform us, how they broaden our perspective and let us see situations through a different lens and different points of view. And I think this is extremely important in time right now, because there's a lot going on and a lot of people have questions and a lot of people aren't sure what to ask and how to ask it. And honestly, all of us want a world where we live in that's good and we don't have to worry. And I mean, it's never going to be 100%, but it could be better. And I think that if each of us took a little bit of time to really focus on seeing a different perspective other than our own, it would help a lot, and just simply help us understand better. So with that being said, one of the things that I absolutely love is baseball. Now, I know a lot of us are missing baseball right now, and one of the things that I thought I would do one year was I asked all of my relatives to give me their favorite baseball player's name. So, my siblings, and so everybody's giving me their names. And my sister said Josh Gibson and Cool Papa Bell. And I said, well, I don't know who those people are. Who are they? And she said they played for the Negro Leagues back in the 1950s. Well, what was cool about this was I had recently watched A League of Their Own, and I thought, oh, well, there's probably a similar situation for, very cluelessly thinking there's a similar situation for black women at the time, because Cool Papa Bell and Josh Gibson played for the Negro Leagues, and this was before and during the time of the Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in baseball. And so they were amazing, amazing athletes. If you have an opportunity, look them up. They were just truly amazing and good athletes. Well, it turns out that when Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier and black sports enthusiasts could go to the same stadiums and watch him play, and slowly, Hank Aaron and more players came over, the Negro Leagues were hurting for spectators. And obviously they needed more people in the stands. And so one of the things they did is they brought in some women to play. And initially it was kind of thought of as, well, we'll just get people in here and have someone who's, sort of good. But it turns out the women were really good at playing baseball. And there was a whopping 3 women that played in the Negro Leagues. And the first one was her name was Toni Stone. Then there was Connie Morgan. And then there was Mamie Johnson. And if you have the opportunity, please read the book Curveball, and it's about Toni Stone. Sadly, I can't find any books about Connie Morgan, but there is a great picture online with Jackie Robinson and Connie Morgan, talking baseball. And then you have Mamie Johnson, who came in, and she did write a children's book called A Strong Right Arm. And I would encourage you to pick that up because it's just a really cool perspective in the sense of, not only is she in basically an all-male situation, but she's in a segregated situation, and there's just a lot of things going on. And so it again will change your perspective about what different players were going through. And then if you're more of a sports enthusiast for Little League, like Little League World Series, Monique Davis, who pitched in the Little League World Series, she also has a book out, and they're middle grade level. But I have always thought that if there's anything that you're wanting to look up and start looking up, start with a kid's book because you won't feel so overwhelmed. So when you have those books that are like What Was the March on Washington or What Was Stonewall, and there are these really great books by Penguin Workshop, and it's part of the Who Am I books or Who Was I books. But they're part of the Penguin Young Readers Program, Penguin Publishing, and they have these great books. They're about 50, 60 pages, but it gives you a basic overview of a lot of different people in history, people still living. There's also events in history, monuments, different places people go and visit. It's a really, really cool way to start. And again, you don't feel like you would have to invest hours and hours and hours on something that you might be interested to learn more about. Start small. I have a very lovely gentleman who is in my neighborhood, and he actually approached me and said, one of the things I wanted to do in my life was read Shakespeare. He's like, I really don't know where to start. He's in his 50s. He never read Shakespeare in school. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a lot to, start. So what I did is I found a children's set by Cherry Hill Press. It was on Groupon, and let me tell you, it was a steal. It was $20. I have no idea if this is there still, but it was $20, and I got all the plays. And it's about a 4th or 5th grade level. And so what it does is it breaks it down to the basic stories. And then it does have some of the classic lines we've heard from the different plays, whether it be Taming of the Shrew or Othello or Much Ado About Nothing or all those things. But it breaks it down, and then you can take that basis, that basic level, and then you can advance it. So you just keep layering on top of it. Think of it as making a cake. And you can't ice a cake unless you have a cake that actually sits still.
This show brought to you.
Nope. We're not ending yet. Sorry. But you think of a cake, and you've got to have a cake that's like really gelled together to put the icing on. Otherwise, it's just a big mess, right? So just start with something basic. And you know what? There are so many good kids books out there, whether they're pre-K, whether they're elementary school or middle grade or even young adult. I mean, there's so many good books out there that could inform you and educate and everything else on pretty much anything. And so, again, don't feel like you've got to have this massive book to start with. It's not like you have to go out and pick up the book that Lin-Manuel Miranda used to inspire for Hamilton. I mean, that book's huge. So maybe you just start with a smaller version, or maybe just read his bio, Hamilton's bio online, and go from there. So it's start, if you're interested in seeing a different perspective and seeing something new, learning something new, well, do it. And I strongly encourage you, too, when you have your kids home for the summer, challenge them. It's like, what 5 things do you want to learn about this summer? My kids have said things like turtles and, the pyramids and how deep the Pacific Ocean is. Those kind of things. Or they want to read more books about dragons. So my daughter, Sophie, loves dragons, and so she found this really great book at the Scholastic Book Fair called Dragons in a Bag, and then by Zetta Elliott, and then there's the second book is The Dragon Thief, and both are out now, and they're great books. And then she also found the book The Dragon with a Chocolate Heart, which, who doesn't love chocolate, right? So, and that's by Stephanie Burgess, and I think they're just such great stories and fun, and I couldn't get her to stop reading. She just loved it. But if you're looking at more of a romancy type situation, I've got some books for you. So Debbie Burns has this really cute series called Head Over Paws, and it's about, friends to lovers. They, get to know each other, and there's a very cute retriever on the front, and it is out now, and it is adorable, and it's by Source Books. And then Kristen Proby has a book called All the Way, and it's about a starting over book for both of the characters in it. And I think that it looks like a lovely story. And Kristen also wrote the best-selling book With Me in Seattle, The Boudreaux, and Love Under the Big Sky series. So she has these really lovely stories, beautiful stories. Marie Hart has this great one called The Kissing Game, and it's kind of a fun little book about friends that decide to fake boyfriend it, and then things always when something starts as fake boyfriendy, it's always going to end up with boyfriends and girlfriends. So we all know this. So that's a fun one. And then The Tourist Attraction, which was just featured in an article that's on Frolic right now, and it's about a woman working in a diner, and she ends up meeting this guy, and she's gonna leave eventually, but then of course she finds reasons to stay. And it's fun because the On Frolic article also had cool nail art that matched the covers of the book. So, and Terry Wilson, who's been on the show, wrote the article. So it's super cute, and I actually have it on my Twitter. So if you go to PAWF1067 on Twitter, that's my handle, then it's on there right now. And then you have The Girl You Marry, Not the Girl You Marry. And it is so much fun, and it's flirty and fantastic and lovely, and that's a fun one to read if you want something a little bit lighter. Conventionally Yours is a same-sex relationship. It's, love isn't the only thing at stake. These two people are going head-to-head at a convention, and, those Comic-Cons can get really they can get really interesting. So it's super cute, and again, it's out. It just came out last week, and it's by Annabeth Alberts. And and The Girl, Not the Girl You Marry is by Andy Christopher. That's very cute. And then you have Pride and Prejudice and Other Flavors by Sonali Dev. And she has a new book out as well. And it's beautiful, and it's so the Pride and Prejudice and Other Flavors is obviously Pride and Prejudice, and then the other one is Persuasion. It's a beautiful blue, purple cover. And then the last book I'm going to tell you about is The First Emma by Camille DeMaio. And it is about the woman, Emma Kohler, who was kind of a rock star here in San Antonio. If you look up the Hotel Emma in the Pearl Brewery, it will talk about Emma Kohler, or if you just look up Emma Kohler, and it's Hler, and she was really above and beyond the fray when it came to what women could do in the early 1900s, especially after her husband was killed by his mistress, who was also named Emma. So there you go. So to wrap it up, the big thing here is to just read something a little bit more maybe something that you're not used to, something that gives you a different perspective. There's some great books out there about the present movement of the Black Lives Matter, and I strongly suggest that you read things like So You Want to Talk About Race. There actually is a BuzzFeed article right now that's out that talks about what book you should start with if you're not comfortable with knowing what to start with. And one of them, Me and White Supremacy, there's also a workbook with it as well. And so even if you are a wonderfully strong ally, we all have lessons to learn. And I think that it's important that we just keep the conversations going. We keep talking, we keep reading, and we keep learning. And I think that will make it all, I think we can get through it far stronger and smarter if we do. So I hope everyone's having a good week. It was a quick show. But I want to wish you all well. Please keep reading, and we will see you next time.
This show brought to you by Circle of Seven Productions, www.cosproductions.com. Please be sure to subscribe and welcome to our circle.
From the excitement of nominations to the applause after the opening of an envelope at the big award shows, The Hollywood Reporter is your source for the inside scoop on the moments leading up to and celebrating the wins of your favorite films, actors, and all the people that made them. Follow the race at HollywoodReporter.com for predictions, reviews, and voters. Check out the THR Awards Hub for everything you need for award season coverage. Visit THR.com today and subscribe to our newsletters so you don't miss a beat.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.